So the 3 goes up here, swerves at the 6, and then Brad just loses it. Wow. Let's listen to the 6 audio.
Keselowski and Austin Dillon getting into each other under caution. This is something extremely unusual, but it happened in the 2022 race at New Hampshire. Keselowski and Dillon were definitely at odds at how they were racing each other on the racetrack. Keselowski seemed very fed up with Austin Dillon as he would door slam him extremely hard. And in these new NASCAR Next Gen race cars, you could basically bang doors as much as you want and cause very minimal damage. So neither one of these drivers suffered too much damage. Now, that wasn't the only time a Dillon brother got into it under caution. Kevin Harvick and Ty Dillon in the Truck Series got together, and even a sledgehammer was thrown at Kevin Harvick on pit road. This was at a time when Kevin Harvick was fixing to leave RCR in 2013, and he was basically fed up with how the organization was run, and I understand because this is extremely uncalled for.
He took it down. I believe it was down. He's parked right in front of the 3, so the 3 can't get in and stall.
The official's doing his best to maintain order, doing a great job actually to get those guys away from the truck.
And once again, the hard part to comprehend is that's a 3,400-pound truck that these guys are messing with right now.
Still to this day, I wish there was a full interview with Matt Kenseth's explanation of what he was thinking in this moment. I would assume a drunk NASCAR fan jumped the guardrail on the fence, got on the racetrack under the red flag at Watkins Glen to ask for Matt Kenseth's autograph. I don't think this will ever happen again in NASCAR, but it is by far one of the funniest things that's ever happened during a race that involves fans or even drivers alike.
In Knoxville, Chandler Smith did his job, and there's the big pileup. Oh, this is going to bring out the caution again. Oh boy, they're just piling.
This is peak Truck Series action at its finest. During the 2021 Knoxville Truck Series race, there was a stack up at the front of the field, and I mean the entire field ended up being collected in this massive accident entering turn 1. There was so many people just not using their heads and not even trying to avoid the crash or even brake. I understand slowing down on dirt is difficult, but I mean, my gosh, even the people far in the back didn't even have any hesitation and just fully plowed their way through.
Spin could not have come at a worse time for Matt Kenseth because they had not made their green flag 2-tire stop, and the laps are going to expire on segment 1. The NASCAR official is holding Kenseth for a 1-lap penalty. A lot of special rules for this race, and here's their reaction.
I'm all I'm here is a one-way conversation, Jason. You gotta tell me whatever you need me to do here, bud.
I guess we're gonna have to pit, Matt. They told me that if we got in this situation, they would red flag it so that we'd have an opportunity to pit, and that's not what they're doing. Caution came out with 4 laps to go. So pit, if that's what they're saying.
I don't need that explanation. Just let me know what you may do. I'll pit here then.
That is one cool customer right there. I would be screaming, and he just said, tell me what to do.
Larry, the explanation that we had was that caution laps counted if they ran out the segment under caution.
This is by far one of the most confusing NASCAR All-Star races we've ever seen. It was the 2016 All-Star race when a caution came out and basically ended part of the stage. Matt Kenseth still hasn't made a pit stop, and this was a very controversial moment. Nobody really knew what the heck was going on, and this doesn't surprise me. NASCAR's rules in the All-Star races are so confusing, it takes like an Einstein to be able to figure out the formula. But ultimately, this was sorted out, and Matt Kenseth probably wasn't happy in the end.
Scenarios for sure, and well, we got some action going on before we ever get started here. But it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. We think we know what we want to do if we can just make all of that happen.
Yeah, we had a couple of guys get together coming down for the signal. 1 lap to go, DJ.
Yeah, it looked like Mark was trying to warm up his tires and maybe got a little loose and came over into the 48. So I don't know if there's any damage, but we'll have to see what happens.
Wow, that's weird.
That is weird.
And the top 2 guys in the championship before we even get started.
And as I said, there is damage. I saw damage to the right front tire, right front fender. Let's see what we can tell what might have happened.
Well, you see Mark on the outside, front row.
Left front down so far that the tire hit the fender there, Mark. That wasn't it, buddy. It was mechanically bound. It was locked. It wasn't a fender.
What in the world? I have no idea.
He's talking like the way he's talking to Ben Leslie is all of a sudden it just locked up. He was turning it left, and it would not turn back to the right. It just locked up.
This is something you never expect to see. At Talladega, you always expect to either win the race or be wrecked. It's how it is. But But imagine being wrecked before the race even started. And what was extremely unfortunate were these were two of the top championship contenders, Jimmie Johnson and Mark Martin. Apparently something in Martin's car would break and he would hit Jimmie Johnson with about 1.5 laps left before they went green. Chad Knaus, Jimmie Johnson's crew chief, pleaded with NASCAR officials to let them wave off the start of the race and let them come to pit road and fix their race car. NASCAR was going to do no such thing, and even Mark Martin had to relinquish second place and bring his car down pit road right as the race started, losing so many points as the race got going. Unfortunately for Jimmie Johnson, his day would get even worse, being caught up in multiple wrecks.
3. He's got some help with him.
Into the wall they go. The 11 now also caught up in it.
The whole
Haley. The 3 of Austin Dillon squeezes through. He is in front. And look at virtually the only car to clear it.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I've never seen racing that intense in Daytona. Never.
And Martin Truex Jr. is going to gain some spots here. So many that won't be able to continue.
Whoa! No, Johnson's out of it.
Big wreck.
Can't go.
Big wreck going to happen here on the front
straightaway.
straightaway.
No, man. You are kidding me?
Look at who came out front, though, on the back straightaway. Matt Kenseth and Larson.
And Kyle Larson.
Gosh.
There are just no words to describe what just happened.
The 48 couldn't go, and he just backed everybody
I don't
up.
think he spun the tires. It looked to me like either something broke or he didn't get it into third gear.
It just, yeah, he never took off.
Well, yeah, he couldn't go, and everybody behind him couldn't stop.
No.
An unlimited camera which traveled over and across the track had a drive cable, not a cable, but a piece of nylon and fabric rope that helped to move that camera along its catenary. Now here it is, overhanging the track at turn 4. The first car coming is going to be Kyle Busch. That's going to catch in his right front wheel well, and it's just going to whipsaw the fender behind the wheel well. Now, where is it going to go? Watch Mark Martin right here. He's going to come along, pick up that cable. It's going to do a little damage to the left rear of his car. There it is in the air. It's going to catch on Mark's car, and then it's going to go underneath Marcus Ambrose's car. You see the camera getting kicked, the cable getting kicked up into the air.
Kyle Busch, who has led 18 laps and running over the cable, we certainly apologize for that camera fiber causing a problem, but they went to work right away.
Well, I knew those guys would get that thing prepared. All the teams bring fabricators, Chris. They come in case there's some sort of damage they have to go behind the wall and fix. You throw them a project like this, and they get happy about it. They say, we'll fix this darn car.
Talk about an all-time Fox Sports moment. During the 2013 Coca-Cola 600, when leading the race, Kyle Busch would get damage to his right front fender after the camera would fall off the camera line and hit his race car. You cannot make this stuff up. As bad as Fox is nowadays, it even shows even back then they were still bad. And this is just unacceptable, and Kyle Busch was luckily able to repair his vehicle and continue back on during the race, but this is something that cannot happen. The TV broadcast company interrupting the race because of faulty equipment.
Has stopped over in the backstretch pits, and his normal pit is
That's Phil Parsons right there.
That is Phil Parsons, who dropped out of this race very early, and he's looks like
steering wheel. He's going to get a steering wheel.
Unbelievable. Phil Parsons goes to his car that dropped out of the race early on and is removing the steering wheel, and apparently will take it to Bobby Allison. It's still attached.
Oh, he's got the radios in there. Bobby Allison doesn't have a steering wheel.
Well, that certainly explains why he couldn't save the car and keep it from hitting the wall. There is Phil handing the steering wheel through the window to Bobby Allison, and Allison pulls away immediately.
This is amazing.
This was amazing, and it's when Bobby Allison's steering wheel wasn't working. So what happened? Phil Parsons, who had problems earlier in the race, decided he was going to go get his steering wheel out of his car, run it over to Bobby Allison so he could install it in his car and keep going. The funniest thing is when Phil Parsons went to take off, the wheel was still connected. It was a huge mess on pit road, but luckily he was able to give the wheel to Allison and he was able to continue on.
In the wall. Byron They're trying to back up. It is a log jam.
It's a traffic jam.
There's nowhere to go right here.
Traffic jam on Jackson Street, or Jackson Drive. And so they knew this was going to happen. You hear the fans yelling.
Kevin not happy at all with the way it went down, and so they're going to discuss it. And maybe a little more than discussion.
You see, this sport's full of emotions. You know, Kevin Harvick feels like he was done wrong, and he wants to express his displeasure with Jimmy. These two have worked really closely together, you know, making their cars faster, but you can see Kevin's not happy with Jimmy.
That's what the playoffs do. Kevin Harvick wants to win a championship. He came here with a car that he thought he could win the championship. He said in his interview he felt he stayed his ground. Jimmy Johnson felt like he needed to come up. They obviously disagreed about what happened on the racetrack. Looked like they planned to talk it out. Kevin was not in the mood to talk, and you have to ask, Stewart-Haas Racing and Hendrick Motorsports have that alliance.
Kevin Harvick and Jimmy Johnson are two veterans in the NASCAR Cup Series who have always had respect for each other. But in 2015, that respect was almost shattered. As when Jimmy Johnson doored Kevin Harvick back up across the racetrack, eventually cutting his left rear tire down, sending Harvick in the wall and losing valuable playoff points. Harvick would also have to beat a must-win situation a few weeks later to advance, and he was able to do so. But it was at a cost because of this accident right here. It easily could have been avoided, but Jimmy Johnson got a little too impatient on the bottom of the racetrack.